Have a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Mike, Henrik86, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, theflatearthchannel.com, Chris Hillman, NA Literalist, Steve ALM, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Nathan Thompson, The Real Gabster, Windrider, Missouri Bear, Liam Nedrick, Dank, Erwin Jennisons, Abraham Mohammed, Dave Rakia Gafford, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Steve ALM, Life is Short, Fireball X, Felix Hung, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, Kirsten Smith, Tina Baker, Alexander Main, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are joined by several people in both Discord and G+, it looks like, so I'll raise the mic on them and you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, just real quick, and then you can go 10th. Most people who make comments about, like what you said, Nathan, with, oh, you shouldn't have rear-wheel drive in snow, they don't know how to drive. If you know how to drive, you can have rear-wheel drive, you can have front-wheel drive, whatever, you know what I mean? So it's all about having competency in the seasons that you're in primarily. People who know how to drive, if they're competent, you can get through it.
Right, you're a trucker, so exactly. I don't doubt that I'm not going to win this pissing contest, but I've easily done 1,000,000 miles. Because when I was a rep, I was doing 150, 200,000 miles a year for years and years on end. So, you know, you rack up the miles, and it is just experience, right? You don't know how to stop a jackknifing truck until it fucking happens, and then you've got to do it, right?
Yeah, real quick. When we lived in Spain, we decided to take a whole month trip. We actually didn't set a time, but it lasted a month. So from Spain, we went to Andorra, Austria, Switzerland, France, you name it, all these countries. And it was blizzard, snow, ice, everything else. But we had rented this van because there's 5 of us. And I remember one time going through Switzerland, and we're going to St. Moritz, and it was so skittish, the road, that I had to go real slow. And all these people behind me are passing me like crazy. And I'm going, these people are nuts. If I just go 2 miles more an hour, I'm going to slide off. I mean, I could tell because of my experience, like, you know, Travis said about driving and all that. So come to find out later, when we arrived at the location, I was talking to some people about that experience. And they said, no, you rented a car in Spain. These are cars with snow tires here. They can go like, so it is the tires.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember a season, again, I think it was in either the S4 or the S5, but it was really, really snowy here. It was one of those years that it just blizzards everywhere, everything shut down. But I wasn't going to shut down. I was a rep. I had stuff to do. So I had to be on the road. And it just took a lot longer. Where I'd normally bailing down at 100, 120 miles an hour, ignoring all speed limits because the conditions were conducive. It's like, right, I've got to do 40 miles an hour on this motorway, and it's going to take a very long time to get where I'm going because it's very dangerous. So you're driving along, you're in the middle, for us it's the left-hand lane, but you know, you're away from the fast lane. That's the wrong terminology. But I'd see people barreling past me, you know, sometimes in 4-wheel drive cars, and they'd be doing 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, 80 miles, and you're like, you are insane. Because most of the time, the fast lane, as it's not called, the overtaking lane, is covered in ice. The other lanes aren't, but the fast lane's actually the most dangerous one. It's the one that's most covered in ice. And a couple of times I'd see him crash. You'd go down the lane about another, I don't know, 10 miles, maybe 5 miles, and then you'd see 2 of the cars that have barreled past you having hit each other, like smashed into each other, and they're stood in the fast lane of a motorway. Admittedly not very busy because there's not many people on it, but basically with 2 smashed up cars in the middle of a snow blizzard. And you're like, what are you going to do now? How long do you think it's going to take you to get a tow truck out in this weather? A long time is how long, and you're going to be sat there in the cold with your smashed up car because you needed to do 70. And it's like, what was the point? But for people, it's just experience, right? You know, most people are like, well, it's 70. Well, my car's 4-wheel drive. I'll be all right. It's like, yeah, till it fishtails and you smash into someone else.
Precisely.
Back to flat Earth.
Well,
Yeah,
better than
well,
the
I
flat
didn't
tire.
record. I am recording now, but I didn't record the 90% of this car-related conversation because, as I said, while we were having the conversation, I've pushed the limits too far already with stuff about hi-fi and cars.
Don't worry, Nathan. On today's show, it's the only thing that's going round and round.
The only thing that's going round and round is going to be the what?
The tires, because there's no globe.
Right, there'll be no axial rotation, that's for sure.
On a side note, I'm over here getting ready for the show, and I'm hearing this noise in my shipping container. Like there's a wild animal in there hitting all the sprinkler pipes or something, making noise. So I jump out of my truck and go down there. And I see all these rabbits. And then I look inside and I see this huge rat tail. So I have a mission today. I'll let you know how it goes
A
tomorrow.
rat?
Oh, yeah. We're in the country, man. It was a tail of something for sure.
We got some big ones in the city, boy.
Yeah, they're called the mayor and the governor.
Cats are scared of the rats in the city.
All
Might not
right.
be.
Well, that was not the end of the conversation. So,
Well,
Yeah, it was kind of
driving,
cheesy.
Travis.
driving. Just leave him to it.
He's driving. I forgot. All right. Just trying to get the show going here. Anybody in Discord want to talk before the show starts?
But although it is on the same subject, so there's been a very recent overlap. There's a guy in New York called Lewis Rossman, who I've actually covered once on this show. I can't remember what it was about, but I definitely covered him. Anyway, Lewis Rossman's currently campaigning to a degree, or highlighting the right to repair bill, and how Apple products are kind of unrepairable unless you go back to them. And he's saying this will affect everyone eventually. Eventually other manufacturers will cotton on to this, and it'll be the case that you just can't fix your stuff anymore. And I think I'll be corrected in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think it's Chevrolet have started doing exactly that, making their cars unmendable unless you take them back to the dealer. In other words, the computers are such that you can only do dealer-level diagnostics and repair. So, essentially, you can't fix the car. So he was saying, when I plug my this is Scotty, when I plug my diagnostics up, I can do limited stuff, but I can't reset any of the faults. So it means you have to take it back to the dealer. And he's saying you need to write to, your congressman about this because it's a bloody outrage. But Lewis Rossman took that clip of Scotty saying exactly that and saying, look, I told you. Once it starts with Apple phones, the next thing you know, it's cars. The next thing you know, everything you own, you don't really own. It's if it's buggered, you have to send it back to the manufacturer, who'll just tell you to buy a new one, like they do with Apple. And that'll be our disposable consumer technology branching into our cars that cost tens of thousands of pounds, and it's happened already.
Yeah, you could see the writing on the wall many years ago. I remember when the diagnostic, I had cars without any diagnostic. You didn't plug anything and you just fixed it. Then it went to that because of technology and computers and cars and all that stuff. And so we wanted to fix something, and they said, oh, you got to go to the mechanic. He's got the tool, meaning the diagnostic desk. So I was like, well, what the heck with that? I'll just buy an old car next time. So now my truck was acting up just last week, and the check light went on. So I just pull up to a local auto parts store, and they have the tool now, the old diagnostics that before only the mechanics had at a certain place.
Ah,
and
they had the black electrical tape to stick over the little light.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You can do that too. So I plugged it in, and it said, it's a spark plug wire. So I bought 7 new spark plug wires, and everything's okay. So now, what used to be only at the dealership or mechanic with the machine or with the tool, whatever they want to call it, now you can get it at the auto parts store, because now they're selling you parts. But what you're saying is taken to another step, which is like, okay, well, they got around that one, so we'll just do it to where none of those things work on some of the items on the car. I mean, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like that for a while, and you're describing OBD2, which was originally OBD1, but anyway, the little ports that now anybody can buy a little Bluetooth dongle, stick in the bottom of the car and diagnose it and reset faults and various other things, saves you going into your dealer, or even your dealer, your local mechanic, and spending $50 for them to diagnose it with their dealer-level machine that they can now buy. Well, yeah, they've taken it one step further and said, well, your dealer-level machine that any old mechanic can now buy won't work. It'll have to go back to the dealer. Now, maybe with time, the same wheel will turn and eventually it'll filter down to dealers, but it doesn't seem like that's the case because of, specifically what I started this conversation with, the right to repair bill.
It reminds me of what you said. If that happens, that'd be great. Maybe they'll be able to let us get to our batteries, to our phones, and do all the kinds of stuff that we were used to do with phones. But they just want to lease, like you said. They just want you to lease and then lease again, and they're just throwaway.
Yeah, completely
Plastic
disposable.
parts.
The worst category as well. It's my buying mentality. I hate purchasing things, generally speaking, but if I'm it's going to be in one of two categories. Actually disposable, cheap and disposable. That's what disposable should be. Or totally other end of the scale, as good as it gets, within reason, as good as it can possibly be, so that if it breaks, it's worthy of repair. That's my mentality. So all of the equipment around me, most of it's 20 years old. One of my amps is currently out for repair. Well, why? Because, yeah, the 300, 400, 500 pounds that it will cost to be repaired is worth spending on it. Now, if it was worth 300, 400, 500 pounds, obviously it wouldn't be worth repairing and it would go in the bin, right? Well, that's the worst category to be in, the middle of the road, but yet simultaneously also disposable, like an iPhone. Oh, it's £1,000. If I'm spending £1,000 on something, I want it to last forever. What do you say? It'll last 2.5 seasons if I'm lucky. And if I want to keep it longer, they'll degrade all the software in it, stop it charging. That's what you end up with. They'll make it disposable.
Yeah, especially with updates that are no longer available for that software on that phone, which didn't last that long anyway, because the updates won't work on it anyway because it broke.
Yeah. I've got to complete.
I keep my eye out for vintage cars. I'm not a mechanic by any stretch of the imagination, but I would much rather have a vintage car because there's less electronics to it. It's more mechanical. It's more simple as a machine. And I just saw one listed. If I remember correctly, it's a 1948 Buick with suicide doors. Thing is a beast. It is ginormous, beautiful, has like 60,000 miles on it. And I'm thinking, man, if that thing can run, it would be worth the money. It was only like $3,000
as a toy.
When you're going to set sail? As
a toy, right? Not as a car that you'll actually practically use, right? As a toy or a little project that you probably won't finish.
No. I'd buy it to drive it.
You're nuts.
You think?
When you're going to set sail?
I do. I think you're insane.
Tell me why. Go ahead. I'll listen.
Because it will continually break.
Yeah, but it's easy. It's an easy fix.
Oh, yeah. When you're at the side of the road needing to get somewhere.
Well, yeah, like you said earlier, if you drive it around and it feels solid, you know what I mean? If you spend a good hour with it, I know a mechanic who's taken care of my cars for the past 15 years. You know what I mean? So I could take it to him. And, of course, if he says don't buy it, I'm not going to. I'm saying as a pie-in-the-sky, dreamy car to have, this thing would be something.
I see.
You know what I mean?
I now know what you mean. That's man. It'd be ace rocking around in a 1940s Buick, doing 6 to the gallon with your 80 horsepower. Yeah. It would be awesome.
I know, right?
That's a boat anyway. That's not a car.
Well, don't
I
worry,
know.
Travis. If it gets tough, they've provided you the suicide doors to end your
No
life.
puns. No puns.
It does sound ace. Right. In an ideal world, me and my wife, we both love cars, and we do 10-car garage. It's like bi-yearly. We go, what if we were rich as all hell? What would be our 10-car garage? And there's various different YouTubers you can see who've got this going on, like Hoovie's Garage. Check him out. You know, he's not even a bazillionaire either. He buys them as hoopties, as he calls them, and then does them up. Although he's into buying Rolls Royces at the moment, so it doesn't really apply. But nevertheless, you get a fantasy 10-car garage. Now, would my 10-car garage have a classic E-Type? Soft top, beautiful, looking awesome, possibly on a rotating podium in the back of the garage? Yeah, it would be awesome. And I would tell people how it's old and reliable, and simultaneously nudge over the fact that it's dripping oil continually. It's a fantasy car. Suicide doors, big V8, rumbling down the road like you're in a Milky Way advert.
The old convertible Cadillacs with the tails on them with the lights. Big trunk.
So, Nathan, if you're interested, if there's, you know, if you want to, whatever, if you're interested, I posted in Master B one of my streams that I did earlier or last week that I finally put pieces together on, and believe that it could be considered another black swan evidence. And I gave you the timestamp for it. But like I said, if the show's lulling and you want to have something to fill time, then it's in the chat.
So you give me the timestamp. What's the timestamp? 17 minutes.
Yeah, 17 minutes is when I start talking about the...
My favorite. Okay, here we go. See this right here? Boom, right there. Okay? Watch right there. Keep that line right there. Here we go. Here we go, everybody. What's going on, SC Montreal? Shout out, brother. We are going to have an open panel, and we're going to... There we go. Drop. Okay. All right, so now that little shenanigan is gone, all right? There's no shenanigan going on right there. But right here, watch right here. Everybody, please, this is game changing. This is game changing, okay? This is not the entire physical barge. This little ghost Aether Band wisp that's going to show up right here, that's the fold line, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong. Could totally be wrong. But I believe that's the fold line. And what's below is this. This right here, this corner right here, is right here. And that's why we have sky right here, right? So if this were a mountain, and it was floating in the, if this were the Anacapa Islands, right? And I have plenty of shots of the Anacapa Islands. If you have the Anacapa Island here, and then you've got the sky right here, that's because this part right here is the mirror of the Anacapa Island. You reach the vanishing line, and then you got the physical island above it, okay? So this entire image here is to be divided as an inferior mirage. I don't think that it could be divided necessarily equally, because this little section up here is smaller than the bottom section. But nonetheless, the only inferior mirages I know where you've got sky below them is when the entire inferior mirage inside of it is contained as its own mirage. Okay? Okay. I'm gonna stop it in a second. See that ghost? See the band right there dancing? See the band dancing right there? Right there? Okay, now look right here. You're going to see this very small white rectangle, okay? Watch this little small white rectangle. Okay, it's coming across. It's getting a little bit bigger. Oh, look at that. It got bigger. Huh. That's weird. Okay. All right, now look. Look. Booyah. Booyah. See this part right here? Woohoo. Woohoo. See that part right there? Woohoo. That's right there. Woohoo. If this is an inferior mirage and this is miraging this, then the fold line is right up here. Right up here. Right up here. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Okay, so going back to this little rectangle right here. Watch this little rectangle. It's going to come right. Oh, now over here on the other side, we got some funky ass shit going on. It's crazy. This is absolutely just this is Pulitzer Prize winning video footage right here, posts. All right, I got to make sure that I think I can do that. Okay, here we go. Okay. We're gonna bring you back again. Bring it back again. Look how small it's getting compressed up here, right? That container right here is getting smaller, right? You can barely see it, right where I'm pointing. See that pointy finger, oh pointy. Shout out Aaron Morfeld. All right, I'm gonna push play. Okay, look. If you're watching right here, you're watching right here. Okay, I'm gonna push play, and it's gonna pass behind the platform and come out on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to push play and then I'm going to move my finger across. Okay, it just disappeared. Okay. Okay, now it's coming up, going to come up right here. Watch how big it is once it comes out right here. Watch how big that square was. Don't pay attention to that stuff there where my finger is pointing. Shinola! Okay, Shinola. Okay, back up. Back up. All right.
Do you want me to play more, Travis?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
But do you understand the significance?
No.
Okay. So I can show you that same oil platform with tanker ships lowered down beyond the horizon so that they look like they're cut in half, right? So that's the curve, right? You can't see half the tanker. Where is it? It's behind the curve. This oil platform is up above the horizon. The fold line for the mirage requires that the mirage is blocking the actual physical water that's continuing to rise according to perspective. So if you haven't heard my explanation of this, is that like if you were to go back, you don't have to play it again, but if you went back to where before I started showing the tanker and all you could see was the oil platform, you could see easily that the oil platform is in a mirage. No problem. That's a mirage. What we don't understand is everything to the left and right at the same height as that mirage is a mirage too. The sky above that horizon line is 110,000% a mirage.
What a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. Ow, I've got something in my eye. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by Arwin, 10th Man, Chocolate Saying, The Plain Truth, and I hear a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good afternoon.
Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Hello. What-o?
I think your echo will settle down once we've got into it. Arwin, it's just because you've only just joined the Hangout.
No, it's gone. Okay.
Excellent. All is well. So, any signs of a physical Earth curve edge, formerly known as the geometric horizon?
Not even from a side of the road in a broken down 48 Buick.
You mean the invisible and non-physical edge?
The both physical and non-physical, not measurable edge that also physically blocks things with its non-measurable non-physicality. That's right, Arwin.
Right. I don't think I've seen it.
I'll tell you what I have seen. I have seen that horizon double up in height. I've seen that horizon diminish twice in height. That is, it lowers twice the distance. And I have seen evidence that it draws closer to you and moves farther away. And there's absolutely no way you can Al Baruni that Shinola.
Right on. It's definitely not physical. We're told it's a misnomer to describe it as physical. We're also told you cannot see the geometric horizon. We're also told you cannot measure the geometric horizon. We're also told the geometric horizon only exists in maths. It's definitely claimed to be both physically blocking things and non-physical, can't be measured ever. Crazy, eh? Welcome to Flat Earth.
Can I ask Travis something? Because he said you're seeing the horizon change height. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, if you want to watch my newest video that I just put out, it's a parody song. You'll have to endure my voice because I am the audio. But all last week, I basically went over this stuff. Even the video clip that I gave to Nathan, it has it on there. I have, and Anthony Riley has seen it as well. So yes, I have verifiable evidence of what my claim was. Yeah.
Yeah, but that seems kind of tough for me to accept because I don't think the horizon literally changes height, but it might appear in relation to objects that it's higher because it's, for example, closer by. You know.
Yeah, you'll have to watch the video.
Hold on, Travis. Just listen to listen to the words he's using. He's being very careful with what he says. Just repeat yourself, Arwin. He's not wrong. Just listen to him again.
Yes, I don't think the horizon literally changes height. I just think it appears to be higher or lower in relation to the objects. Yeah, you will see it surrounded with because, a horizon without objects doesn't exist. It's always the horizon between the land and the sky. So it may appear to be higher, but is it literally higher? I don't think so. I think it might just appear to be higher. But it does definitely come closer by and move further away. That is a fact.
Yeah, let him respond, Darwin.
Sure.
Go ahead, Travis.
I was going to say that's a fair response, Arwin. But what I would suggest then is if Nathan wants to pull up my video that I just put out, put it on mute. You don't need the music for it, and you will see a demonstration of it. But again, if you
okay, we had it on in the pre-show, but yeah, what Travis is saying is you can see it being in a different position in terms of the frame that he has presented to him. I'll just, because Arwin's already done it once, Travis. I was held over a barrel on this by Quantum Eraser, and I said, yeah, it's getting higher. No, it's lower, etc., just like you've done. And then he held me to task on it. Was like, is it actually higher? when it's being described as, say, with the black swan, not, just to take it away from your imagery for a moment, that it's actually higher. Well, no, it isn't. It's behind the platforms, but is it higher? You could say it's visually further back, but higher or lower? And when you're dealing with, as you were, mirages, how can you describe it as anything? It's obviously an optical illusion no matter what you describe, right? And Arwen's saying, how can you say it's physically higher or lower?
Okay. I again, gentlemen, I hear you. The video that I'm referring to, Nathan, is a separate video than the one that you were playing in the pre-show.
Oh, my bad.
So it's not the same one. And again, I don't want to hijack the show, but since Arwen asked, I do have, and you can look at it. It's my newest video that I put out. It's the very first 30 seconds to a minute. You know, I've got 26 minutes of video condensed at I think 4 to 6 times speed or something like that. But anyway, watch it and then see if you have the same response. That's all.
All right,
That's going to be a, yeah. Just put it on mute.
Okay, so you've got a superior mirage.
That's up for debate. I think that it's an inferior mirage. I've made that statement before. I think that superior mirages, for the most part, are misclassified inferior mirages. But like I said, that's up for debate. If you want to slide the scale up so that you get to the point where I put the dotted line with the arrow in and mark off the horizon, if you just want to slide it up to that point and then
got it.
Push play.
It's on.
Right.
Okay, so what you're saying is what? What's your point?
Are you pushing? Did you push play?
You want me to push play with this line? Okay, yeah. So we've got the line pointing at the boat where the horizon is. Says my camera lens would have to be falling up.
Whoa!
To get this effect. It's not. It's stationary.
Oh, it's sinking. The image, not the boat.
This is cool. I like your gotcha moment. Am I eating my words or what?
Yeah, so that's an oil platform. That's not a boat.
I owe you an apology. You can hear me stuttering away, can't you? I'm sorry, Travis. I was wrong.
No, listen. I understood what you were saying, and because of what you were saying, you're correct. But you didn't understand what I was saying, and I was totally fine with that. I knew that once you saw it, I knew that you would come crawling back and kiss my finger.
Yeah, I'm eating humble pie. I'm really embarrassed. It's on screen while you're saying, I know what you're saying, as it all starts moving down. Egg on my face.
No, I disagree.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, and I have a good argument for it, because it's the same thing. Look, this is a thing that's very far away. There's no literal height change. This is like the angular apparent height change is, very little because you're so zoomed in. But what it's technically doing is moving closer, and with it also changing the mirroring effect beyond it. So it just appears to go down.
Yeah, you're agreeing with him then. Well, then you're agreeing with him. Then you're agreeing with him. Why be such a weasel? Just say I agree and go, wow, isn't that cool?
Oh, it's cool. Absolutely.
It is cool. By being
the
Weasley.
Horizon is not changing.
Win. Just, I've had to eat bloody humble pie. Why can't you?
I'm sorry, I'm already full of that.
Whatever, weasel.
You're full of it, yeah.
Oh, thanks.
That's excellent, Travis. I like
Shout
to
out to Chocolate saying, I thought it, but I didn't say it.
No, that's excellent. I love that sort of thing. You know, Spurs is typically the master of this sort of thing. You know, leads you down a declaration with bold confidence, only to show you totally wrong. Travis has done it beautifully. I love that. That's ace. Great.
All right. Well, I'm not. I stand by my point. It's exactly like I described. It's still really impressive, though. It's a really impressive shot. So, well done.
So the one thing that's even more amazing about it, right, is if you watch that in real time, you would never see that subtle change. If you were watching it with your naked eye, you would not know what was going on at all. The only way to capture this is to zoom in on it, or I guess you could take it from a zoomed out position as long as you were recording it, and then you move the time scale up and down to see it move. But it's so slow. This is like molasses spilling out in January. It's so slow.
Hey Travis, how do you, or does this differ anything from the skunk bait footage that does the same thing with the landmass?
No, it's the same thing, but no, it's the
yeah,
same.
I would say that it's the same thing. You only have 3 reference points here. You have the water, you have the platform, and then you have the Santa Cruz Island in the back right of the image. So you only have 3 things going on here. But what you'll notice, gentlemen, the entire field of view moves. Everything moves.
No.
Oh God, I knew he was going to say no.
The water closer by doesn't move. It's only when you can't distinguish the water details.
Okay,
And after that, it's all getting wobbling and warping around.
All right, Arwen, everything in the distance then. Everything in the distance.
No, Arwen's right though, and you're agreeing with him, which is good. We don't need to dwell on this. He is right. And also, Arwen, just to be fair to you, Travis did actually concede that you were correct in your first assertion, as did I, and that didn't change. We didn't say you were suddenly wrong.
Oh, I thought he kind of was backtracking then.
No,
sorry.
It's just in terms of it being higher, lower, when it's bloody moving in front of your very eyes, how can I say that's wrong? How can I say, no, it's not lower? Well, yeah, it bloody is. He's just shown it me. How can I disagree with that? Yeah, it's apparent, and that's what you disclaimed when you disagreed. You're like, yeah, but it's only apparent. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what we're describing, isn't it? What we see. What's apparent. Is it physically moving? No, obviously not. But that's what their measure for are, if we're going to bring it back onto a globe point. What, this point that we've just literally watched before our very eyes move, that's capable of being described as physical and deriving R values from it? Obviously not. This is an absolute globe killer. You can't describe it as having physicality if it's just moved before your very eyes. It's just absurd.
Right. All right. Then it's settled.
What globe?
Right on. Any evidence of axial rotation? Thank you very much, by the way, Travis.
You're welcome.
Axial rotation?
No.
Oh, you got a super chat, by the way.
Oh, yes, Cleary. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. What was it he said? Something about perspective.
Perspective.
Perfect. Thank you, Arwen. Thank you very much for the super chat, Cleary. Also, a couple of shout-outs. So, Free Minded upgraded his membership. So, thank you very much indeed to Free Minded. Big shout-out to you, my friend. Subscribe and join by hitting the join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley channel member. Also, a new member, Sunny, is it Mollison? Thank you very much for joining as a penguin, my latest penguin. Really appreciate it. Check out the Uncut and After Show. It comes out straight after the live show finishes, obviously once we've finished recording the after show. But yeah, you get that immediately if you're a member. So I put out a little, what do they call it, like a community post to the members each time it's actually published. So check it out. You'll get it. Whatever we talk about after the show is finished, the live show finishes, that'll go straight out to members of Nathan Oakley 1980. Anyway, enough plugging of me. Was there any evidence of axial rotation?
No, Earth-based Coriolis, Nathan.
The proof that it's spinning is that it's not spinning.
But you can think of it as spinning.
Yeah, but that'll only make your head spin, not the world.
I don't know. I got footage of it. You want to watch it?
What? Of the Earth spinning?
Arwen, come on.
Oh, shout out to the Adam Meakin. And that's why Travis is... I can't read it. Doctor Professor?
A doctor. Yeah, a doctor professor.
Doctor Professor. Is that what you are, Travis? A Doctor Professor? Is that just maybe uppy?
Yeah, that's my Discord title, Dr. Professor Aetherband.
Dr. Professor Aetherband, eh? M1 Bear, welcome as a new channel member, new penguin. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've seen Travis's Ether band. He's the lead vocals and plays guitar.
Excellent. The Ether Band, eh? Boom, boom. Any evidence of an ounce of humility from Thunderfoot regards his gas helium bouncy balls? Go down, go boom, boom. Or does gas pressure still require the necessary antecedent of a container?
Well, unless he's
It's still
debunked the second law of thermodynamics, I think gas pressure still requires a container. Yeah.
Alas, no. He simply pointed to a claim to be gas giant in a vacuum, or to put it another way, a second law of thermodynamics violation in his religious belief, to prove his religious belief of a second law of thermodynamics sky vacuum, wouldn't you know?
Ah, that's a cute dosey-do.
How did he do that? Did he say, what about Jupiter or something?
Yeah. He went, look at Jupiter, it's a burning ball of gas in a sky vacuum violating the second law of thermodynamics. And that proves the sky is a vacuum in violation of natural law, because I say the light in the sky is a burning ball of gas in a sky vacuum, and that proves it. It's not begging the question and assuming one's outcome to simply assert your fundamentalist religious belief that the lights in the sky are actually also in violation of the second law of thermodynamics. But yeah, actually it is. I'm just joking. That's definitely begging the question and assuming your outcome, a logical fallacy.
They even have a bigger problem than that, Nathan, because their gas giant, the sun, right? The further you get away, it gets hotter.
Wow, I'm getting loads of new members.
It's like a microwave effect, you know?
Shout out to Kim Robinson, who's just joined as a penguin. Thank you very much indeed. Getting loads of new channel members today. Wonderful.
Well, we got to think about those rebellious gas particles again. By the way. You know,
Why?
because they're moving at 2,000 miles an hour, according to Rumpus. But they had to stop, slow down. They had to stop that momentum, stop that velocity, and say we're going to hold ourselves together to form this gas giant or to form stars. So they had to these rebellious gas particles, not just containing the Earth, they also had to defy it when they started to form these gas circular things, whatever they are out there.
Well, there's now a new plot twist thanks to Thunderfoot to the story of the rebellious gas particles. It turns out that the reason they rebelled against natural law is because deep down they were envious of the solids. They wanted to be solids. So they said, we will no longer be unbonded gas. We will be as one, bonded together like bouncy balls. Go down, go boom, boom. Shout out to Thunderfoot Clown.
So you're saying they realized they were vapid and then they got heavy from it?
No, they just decided.
They had
go on, Paul.
Go ahead.
That's all right. No, we're having fun.
Yeah. That elastic collision, they had to stop that as well. They had to say, they put the brakes on right before they collided and said, okay, we're going to stay together. So no more elastic collisions either.
Exactly. They're like, elastic collisions? No. Elastic, bonded, bouncy balls. Go down, go boom, boom. That's what we're going to do as unbonded gas. Don't oppress us. How dare you say we can't go down, go boom, boom like a solid bonded solid. We are rebellious gas particles. We do not obey natural law. We will stay here at the Kármán line and violate your law. We are solid. Solidarity, gas particles. Another big shout out to Thunderfoot Clown.
I got a new slogan.
Gas particle solidarity. I like that.
Gas particles matter.
Yeah, the rebellious gas particles have got solidarity. Just use your imagination or something like that. Quote, Thunderfoot 2020.
Solidarity. It's because the word solid is in there. It's lovely.
Moving on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
What?
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, Arwin? Am I stuttering? Is there something wrong?
Wherever did you hear that nonsense?
It's written down in books for school kids. Couple of shout-outs. Shout-out to Cleary. Earth is a realm, not a planet. Nikola Tesla. Thank you very much for your super chat. Also, Bleeding Warrior. Pathetic Riley bought subscribers. We have proof. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I don't think you have. But thank you very much indeed for your super chat, Bleeding Warrior. My shiny new 200 subs say hi at Bleeding Warrior. What do you know? I'm egg on my face twice in one show. Seems he did. Shout out to Sleeping Warrior. Love it. Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius, the presupposition thereof.
Black Swan.
I love that I don't even have to do it anymore. Somebody does it for me.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity, you know. Everything goes down, go boom boom, like helium bouncy balls. All goes down, right? Go boom boom. Like balls. Like my balls. Gas balls. Tasty gas balls. Num 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 num. No scientific evidence of gravity? Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? Hey, Sleeping Warrior.
Oh, God.
Hey.
Hey, hey, hey.
No, it's just guesswork.
What's up, Riley?
Hey, Chocolate. Hey, have you checked the Master V chat out for the Cavendish 2.0?
Yes, I've been keeping up with that. So, Dr. John Dee's Cavendish 2.0 should be very, very interesting. I don't know if it's supposed to be spilled, though. Are we supposed to be talking about this?
Oh,
Probably not.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, Cavendish 2.0, Dr. John Dee.
Shout out retracted then in that case.
Shout out to Bleeding Warrior. Riley just admitted it. Egg on your face. Indeed, he did. He admitted it and gave me money in doing so. Isn't that wonderful for me?
Shout out to my 200 subs that won't be here for very long.
Just without sarcasm. Hold on. Just without sarcasm. Anthony Riley, otherwise known as Sleeping Warrior. Have you bought subscribers?
Nathan, I can't afford to buy subscribers. They're far too expensive.
No, they're not. That's not a no.
I'm just teasing him because he's got an issue.
Leave it out of their
say
open,
the word no. So if I tease him by saying everything but, like giving a politician's answer, it'll fuel his desire to present evidence.
Nice.
Tease, Tony.
I can't afford to. Let's get into an argument about whether or not Auntie Riley can afford to, rather than keep on track with whether or not he's bought subscribers. I see, Anthony. You want to do their trick. You've been here a long time, haven't you?
Just, I don't know. If you can't beat them, you might as well join them. So, yeah, shout out to my 200 shiny new sub.
If they want to be the donkey following the carrot on the stick, that's on them.
Yeah. Tis what it is.
You know, Anthony, I didn't get my monthly subscription to stay a subscriber. Why didn't that come through this month? I'm wondering why.
Do you know what? I don't know. Maybe it got lost in the post. Do you know what? I bought some stuff for my bike, right? And I ordered it almost a month ago. And it's only coming from Doncaster, which is about, I don't know, a day or two in Royal Mail. It took nearly a month to get here. So much to the point that I rang him or I messaged him on eBay and I said, "Here, where's my stuff? I ordered it nearly a month ago. I know the coronavirus is taking its toll, but it's been nearly a month, best part of a month. Can you resend them?" They weren't expensive. So he was like, "Yeah, okay, no worries." I got both of them in the post this morning, didn't I?
I've been waiting for some acoustic foams for a panel I made, the only panel I made myself. And I ordered the foams from China. I wanted a specific density. I ordered them special. Nearly 3 months later, still haven't arrived. Still waiting for them. Anyway.
Yeah.
Isn't it disgraceful? Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No, what we can calculate it as though it's a physical object, and we can guess that if the Earth's a ball, and then we can guess that if Venus is the same size as it, then we can scale out the whole universe.
How'd you do that then? I don't understand. If you guess the Earth is a ball, and you guess what about Venus?
Yeah, you assume that Earth's a ball, and then apply Eratosthenes' rough calculations if it sticks in the ground, and then you assume that Venus is a sphere of the same size as Earth, roughly. So you've got a bit of wiggle room just in case you're out a little bit, and then you can calculate applying some basic trigonometrical calculations. You can apply the distance to the sun, and then when you get the distance to the sun, you can then calculate its size because you need to know the distance to get its size, and then you can claim it's massive.
They're saying
that's what they do.
If you assume Earth's a sphere, and then you assume you can calculate a radius value based on a geometric horizon that you can't see, you can then take that geometric sphere edge and its horizon to give you an R that's the same as a light in the sky called Venus. And when you impose our R value onto, oh, is that what they call it? Our twin. Oh, isn't that nice? So when you impose that onto a light in the sky, a little twinkly dot, and say that it's essentially the same thing as us, with the same radius as us, that assumption gives you the size of the sun. But you haven't got the size of the sun from that. You've got it because you've assumed the size of Venus and then observed a transit, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. What we did then was we used more mathematics to calculate whether or not Venus should be the right size. And what do you know? When you work it backwards, Venus is basically exactly right.
That's based on Kepler.
Well,
hold on.
And where does Kepler
hold on. Where do they get those maths from?
Well, if we apply Kepler's laws on interplanetary motion, we can calculate then the radiuses of all the planets, and it all starts falling together like pieces in a jigsaw, right? And it's always backwards calculable because we've started from the premise that we can assume that the Earth's a sphere and assume that Venus is the same size as Earth. So no matter which way we mathematicize it, it'll always work out, and therefore it's true.
Well, wait a minute. You forgot one. They did confirm the distance to the sun on the summer solstice during a half moon. They determined the distance to the moon, and they calculated the distance to the sun at the horizon. So come on, that was confirmed that way. Didn't you know this? So everything's right.
I am aware, though, that when you speak to ballers about this, they say that's not even how they do it on our model. We do it with radar ping reflections from Venus, and that's how we get the distance to Venus. But if you ever actually look into that discussion, you'll find that they all argued and disagreed about whether or not they were seeing ping echoes at all, because the background, I'll call it the cosmic background noise, which is like bees flying by and traffic and the usual kind of stuff that you can hear in the atmosphere, the noise. They call it cosmic noise, but really it's terrestrial noise. That noise drowns out the reflection of the wave that's coming back, and nobody could agree on what they think they were looking at.
No, that's not true. Hold on, I'm sure they did this at Jodrell Bank, and they were all in agreement, were they not?
Well, they did it all at Jodrell Bank in it was just before the Apollo moon missions, right? So it was I think it was 1961 or I can't remember the exact date, but it was only until they sent all the information over to a bloke at JPL Laboratories in America, otherwise known as NASA, a bloke called Bob. And once he took a look at it, he basically went back and said, yeah, that's the ping reflection. You're looking at it. And then once he said that, everybody jumped on it then and said, yeah, we've confirmed it. Well done, and patted each other on the back. All because a bloke from JPL called Bob said it was true. Look it up. It's a true story.
Now, hold on. So they're looking at something and they haven't got a clue what. But then a guy from the Jet Propulsion Laboratories comes over and says, and this guy's called Bob, right? Bob?
Yeah, Bob.
Bob comes over.
His name so you can
Bob comes over and says, no, this is what you're seeing, and tells them what they're seeing. Is that correct?
Yeah, he confirmed that it was true. So once Bob from JPL, once he said it was it, then that became it then, and everybody accepted it, just because Bob said so.
I see.
Bob's my uncle.
So Bob's your uncle. He says it's...
And your aunt.
He says it's a reflection, and therefore it is.
Correct. It was his interpretation, and once he'd committed to it, then everybody jumped on it. But until he committed to it, nobody wanted to put the name to it until Bob did it from JPL, and then it was fine.
Okay. Well, let's just assume that Bob's right. It is a reflection, right? Now they're going to compare what they've got in terms of the timing to their base assumption, correct? Does their base assumption include mathematics that assumes Earth's a sphere?
Of course.
So they're going to take their base assumption that Earth's a sphere, derive a distance to the sun based on a distance to an assumed radius valued rock in the sky twinned with Earth called Venus, and then based on that assumption and those estimations of those distances and the timings involved at those distances, they've fired a reflection, got something back within the time frame that they should be getting it according to their own mathematics, but the people at Jodrell Bank weren't really sure what they got. But then a guy from the Jet Propulsion's laboratory called Bob comes along and says, no, that's definitely a reflection in the exact time frame that we'd expect when we assume Earth's a sphere, and we assume the radius value of a light in the sky called Venus is the same, and we extract out the distance to the sun and then convert it by this measurement, which you don't know what you're seeing, but I know I do, therefore it is, therefore confirmed distance to Venus. Correct?
Yeah, so they were looking at in a set time frame based on believed and known parameters, right? And they knew that it would be in this period of window based on, these parameters, and there wasn't anything there. Now, they claim that there was, and they all disagreed over what they were interpreting. The guy's name's Bob Price, and the other guy's name's Paul Green. And the link's in the chat for you to have a look at in your own perusal. But there was a bloke in this, and there's a section in this paragraph called Venus or Bust. And basically, one of the guys was about to make a PhD thesis, and basically he needed something to write about. And if he didn't get this ping reflection, he didn't have any thesis, right? So it had to be there. So because it had to be there, basically, it needed to be there, right? And he was able to then write his thesis on it. But if they're not looking at the right time, because Venus is either a light in the sky, or maybe it is physical and it's a different distance and it's much closer or whatever, obviously they're looking at the wrong time frame for this ping. Now, whatever Venus is or is not, it's still a perception based on squiggles. I'll compare it to seismographs and seismology. It's a perception based on squiggles. It's not proof of a radar bounce to and from Venus.
Well,
but have a read through it.
Okay, so a couple of other details have now exposed themselves, which I didn't anticipate coming. So you've got an assumed radius value for Venus, and with that you've got the distance all roughly worked out that's going to be confirmed by this radar bounce, right? Well, yeah. If that assumption for Venus was different, that would massively change the timings and the sizes. Is that correct?
Yeah, of course.
So how do we come to this assumption that Venus is our twin with the same radius as a presupposed radius of Earth that can't be measured or derived because we do not see a geometric horizon? Was this worked out carefully scientifically, or what? Was it just some dude's idea? I mean,
Christian Huygens.
That came from a bloke called Christian Huygens, who assumed that Venus was a sphere and that it was the same size as Earth.
Hold on. Sorry, stop. Can you Sorry, I was just about to say it couldn't possibly have just come from one dude who made it up, but now you're telling me it has come from one dude who just decided that a light in the sky called Venus was the same radius and a sphere like Earth, assumed to be a sphere, even though you can't measure a geometric horizon, it can't be seen or measured. Is that correct? Yeah. One dude.
Christian Huygens.
So Christian Huygens decided...
This was the Jimmy point, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I do remember Jimmy.
That's exactly the Jimmy point.
I remember that. That was a great day. That was great.
It's happened. Hold on. Let's preface this. Hold on, Anthony. I will let you loose. So this has recently happened with Fight the Flat Earth. When they don't like something, they just add to it randomly. But nevertheless, regale us, Anthony, with the wonderful tale that is the tale of Jimmy the Scumbag Fraud.
So Fight the Flat Earth's done it with Spurs Chemo. If you're not aware, Spurs presented a video about how they create big panes of glass for skyscrapers or whatever, I presume. And in the video, the guy doesn't say that the glass is flat. He says the glass is absolutely flat, right? That's stronger than just being flat. And basically, Spurs was challenged to present evidence of absolute flatness. And he did. And there was a bet on it, and there was hokey pokey and all that. But the bottom line was this. Fight the Flat Earth redubbed over the top of the video. It follows the curvature of the Earth. Spurs is like, well, that wasn't in the video. What are you talking about? He realized it was Fight the Flat Earth, and basically he faked it. Now, he says it was to demonstrate the point that you could just say anything you want in the video, and then that becomes fact. But it seems to be the case that because Spurs did present evidence of absolute flatness, contrary to the terms of the challenge that he was presented with, it seems that it was only done to support him weaseling his way out of it. In the same way that Jimmy presented evidence live on the show. It was funny because Nathan's he cited a document for supporting citation for a particular point. I'd clicked on it. I had my eyes on literally the sentence that he was about to read off, and what was meant to be a verbatim reference. He read it, and he read the first sentence completely verbatim, but then he added a little bit to the end that wasn't in the citation, and I spotted it because I happened to have my eyes on it. I said, where does it say that? And he said, it's in the reference I've just given in chat. I said, where does it say that? And we made him read it back, and it wasn't in the reference. He'd added it himself, just like Fight the Flat Earth did with his evidence. But yes, they all assumed that Venus was the same size as Earth. And if you assume that Earth is a sphere of a given radius, then you can calculate the whole proximity of the whole solar system based on it.
What an outrage.
Shocking. So, as far as I'm aware, the conclusion of the Fight the Flat Earth point is that Fight the Flat Earth should be making a donation of 500 quid to some charity. I think the charity is going to be somewhat like neutral, like NSPCC or something like that.
I think the charity is called the Atherband Research Society.
The Flat Earth Society or whatever, yeah.
No.
There's definitely some argy-bargy going on with that. I'm not. The facts are there or thereabouts. Don't quote me verbatim on it. I don't know exactly what the issue is. Spurs has got them like up, line and sinker with a citation, and they just don't like it, so they're trying to weasel out of it. Him and Team Skeptic, so they both owe 500 quid
stop.
No.
Stop. Not this both over 500 quid, right? The bottom line is there's an assertion that level isn't level. Level means conforming to the surface of a sphere, according to globe Earth zealots who've been around the Wrekin with us in this argument. So level's no longer level, it's a contradiction in terms it actually means curved according to them. Spurs has demonstrated that the useful property of, in this case, liquid tin, is that it's perfectly flat. Therefore, you can make perfectly flat glass with that. Now, if it was, as they suggest, as it travels down this canal, to be formed into glass, conforming to a curve, they'd be creating lenses, not flat glass. But to get around that problem, what Fight the Flat Earth did was just literally overdub his own voice saying that means it's conforming to the shape of a sphere. When obviously that would make the entire example farcical, because the point of the demonstration is that they're making perfectly flat glass with the perfectly flat liquid tin that they're floating it on when they make it. Not perfectly flat because it's conforming to something curved. That's how we get it so flat. No, that makes no sense anymore when you add a totally nonsensical statement on the end.
That sounds like desperation to me.
Yeah, the other part I liked about that was when the video talked about how the glass flows down the canal. And Spurs called that out, and Craig said, well, yeah, he said canal, but he doesn't mean canal.
It sounded like he was going to cry when he said it. They get very upset when they're demonstrated to be wrong. They launch immediately into fundamentalist religious zealotry.
He said canal, but he doesn't mean canal. These guys.
He said canal, but I can just overdub him saying bathtub.
Basically. Like, how pathetic do you have to be?
Literally, they will literally change the words coming out of somebody's mouth if it doesn't agree with them. If that doesn't say zealotry, I don't know what does. One thing trying to weasel your way around the definition of a word is another thing to literally, completely contextually change an example by overdubbing your own words on the top of it, making it make no sense, just so you don't have to lose an argument that demonstrates that liquid is flat, and that's how it's being utilised when making glass. Rather than conceding, that's the level of zealotry they'll go to. They'd rather go to the effort of redubbing what the guy says with their own words. My God, that's the level we deal with. We're shocked that we don't get a concession in debate. My God, that's the tip of the iceberg. Zealots.
Keep doing it. Keep adding to the list of nonsensical things that you guys do in order to prevent us from understanding that you have no arguments for your globe, you have no geometric horizon. These are all just tactics, man. And it's pretty pathetic ones on top of that.
Yeah.
For you to dub your voice over something that has nothing to do with the earth or anything, just glass, and you're just going to dub your voice just to make a point that you could just say something and declare it to be true. Well, that's kind of funny. That sounds like projection, because that's what you guys do. So you actually projected what you do, and you did it, which I think is hilarious and pathetic.
It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. But as I say, I keep saying it, it's a demonstration of fundamentalist religious zealotry. But I mean, it's beyond that. There's got to be a new description. That's beyond zealotry. It's so much worse. It's bordering on fraud.
Well, it is kind of fraud, but it
is fraud. It is fraud. It's the case, Top. It's the case that, can you imagine, right, if there was an argument on our side and we went and faked some evidence to support our assertion that the Earth was not a ball, and then they found out, what would happen in that situation? It'd be horrendous, wouldn't it?
We'd be hung, drawn, and quartered. We'd be hung, drawn, and quartered, metaphorically speaking.
They're just used to it. Everybody's doing it now on their side. So it's just like, well, as long as our friends, fellow ballers, don't really care that much, we could go that far. Sure.
Yeah. The support is so strong that they can get away with whatever they like in terms of deceit. And the audience will turn a blind eye to it and move on with their day and be happy that they've at least attempted to reassert their the audience, that is, their fundamentalist religious zealotry also. Well done, yeah. You showed him by overdubbing it, and they'll cheer for the fraud.
Can you imagine, Nathan, if you and I were to do some kind of experiment or test or demonstration or something to support a point, and let's just say we called it gas pressure without a container, and we used a big bloody pipe that went up the side of the house, right? There would be hell to pay, but yet nobody on their side calls out Blue Marble Science for using a big bloody container that gave him the gas pressure. Everybody ignores it. It's like, yeah, imagine if we did that. Never go down well, would it?
I've got a better example now. Yeah, if you can't demonstrate that you require containment for gas, you'll literally turn gas into a solid, bonded, bouncy ball and pour it into a fish tank and claim that that demonstrates, let me get the quote correct, gas pressure without a container by way of solid, bonded, bouncy balls. Another shout out to Thunderfoot Clown, who doesn't understand intermolecular bonds and will tell you to use your imagination to turn gas into a completely different state to get around a second law of thermodynamics violation. So not just I'll use an actual gas like butane and then claim it's not in a container when it's in a container, but I'll literally not use gas at all. I'll use bouncy balls like a clown. So there's a better example. Thunderfoot has actually managed to top trump the redneck retard. At least the redneck retard was using gas.
Wasn't that idea of the bouncy balls originally kind of introduced on the scene by Rumpus?
Who knows? I just know that Thunderfoot, with almost 1 million views, has told them to use their imagination. Imagine gas is actually solid. And then you'll believe in my 105-year out-of-date religious belief in gravity being a force, when everyone who, let's appeal to his obviously very dear to his heart qualifications, people who outrank him tell him otherwise. People like Professor Brian Cox make it clear that gravity's not really a force at all, end quote. But this religious zealot with his 105-year out-of-date rhetoric seems to think that actually gas is represented by solid, something that a 7-year-old understands better than. So Thunderfoot's an abject clown, and I think he's a far better example than the redneck retard. As I say, at least the redneck retard recognises that you're going to need to demonstrate gas pressure without a container by using a gas.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
A couple of commenters that were challenging me, like with the usual ridicule, you're an idiot. And then I've gone out of my way to respond to a lot of them because I know that Thunderfoot hunts his way through his opponent's comments. And I've pointed out to every single one of them. No, your guru Thunderfoot is an abject moron. Has described gas go down, go boom, boom like helium. Yeah, no, he's a complete clown. And a couple of them have said, yeah, I know I was ridiculing you, but the gas bouncy balls example was pretty poor. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Abject buffoonery. Yeah, we're going to be needing a retraction. You're going to need to tell your 1 million people who you've lied to that you're wrong. That gas absolutely, definitely does not behave like solid, bonded, bouncy balls. We're going to need that retraction. Because if you don't give it, we're going to continue to call you a fraud. Because you're not justifying, you're not saying, actually, no, it's not fraud. I wasn't intentionally deceiving people by telling somebody that gas behaves like solid, something a 7-year-old understands is not the case. No, it wasn't fraud and deceit. I'm actually a retard. We need to hear that, Thunderfoot. We need to know if it's abject stupidity or outright fraud when you deceive people about how gas behaviour is with solid bonded bouncy balls that definitely don't behave like unbonded gas. Yeah, that's just fraud, lies, deceit to sell your religion. You're like all the fundies you used to debate 10 years ago now, aren't you? But yet when you were debating them, you got away with telling them how consensus view was right and that they needed qualifications to challenge you. No. Spurs has shown us that you can hand a PhD his ass without any qualifications. And when they tell us to respect their authority, oh, how we laugh.
I didn't even think it was possible to outdo what the redneck guy did. But the way you just explained what Thunderfoot did, I never would have thought about it. He'd have to just change everything about gas to beat out redneck.
Oh, it's happy days. In your wildest dreams, could you ever believe that somebody could ever be more stupid than Blue Marble Science, the redneck retard, with his demonstration of gas pressure without a container as per his title, with 2 containers? Did you ever think anybody would top that in terms of stupidity? Well, happy days! Someone with almost 1 million subscribers has managed to out-stupid the redneck retard. Kudos, Thunderfoot Clown with his gas bouncy balls. Let's all have a damn good laugh at Thunderfoot Clown. Here comes Thunderfoot Clown. Bouncy balls aren't gas, Clown.
I'm just seeing him juggling balls and saying yes.
Yeah, me too. Let's see if you can do that with helium. Yeah, now that you've stepped into the ring, we are absolutely going to be demanding the same demonstration with the gas that you detailed. By way of a second law of thermodynamics, begging the question fallacy to prove a second law of thermodynamics violation. No. You just mentioned helium though, didn't you? Well, isn't that useful? Because that's a gas. So we're going to need to see helium. Not go down, go boom, boom when bouncy balls, Thunderfoot Clown. We're going to need to see helium without a container, maintaining gas pressure. Yeah, that's what you're going to be doing. I didn't choose helium. You did, didn't you, Thunderfoot Clown? You're going to be showing us gas pressure without a container. Now, again, I'm not going to leave this open-ended for the sarcasm, because it's way beyond that with this clown. Retraction time, Clown. You've said gas is like bouncy balls, Clown. Time for you to correct that error, Clown. That's Thunderfoot Clown, for anybody who thinks he's still their guru. He's just got away with pretending to be a scientist for about 10 years by telling people that consensus view and accreditation trumps all. He told some fundy zealot that did a fake DMCA claim against him that he'd need peer review in order to challenge him. Au contraire, Thunderfoot Clown. I just need to show a little gif of you juggling bouncy balls with a caption saying helium and everyone will laugh at you, because that's the kind of thing a clown does. No accreditation needed. Just a demonstration with your own words of stupidity that you're going to be retracting.
Nathan, I just don't understand. How does a cylinder or a fish tank represent a ball? I don't understand.
No, we won't even get
or
there.
How about this?
Go, Travis,
how
go.
does a fish tank full of...
Go on, Travis.
I was just going to add, how does a fish tank full of static sugar water represent an atmosphere that is dynamic and in motion?
Oh, I'll just give you a Thunderfoot to answer that question. Quote, use your imagination. Or something like that. End quote. Thunderfoot 2020.
That's the exact same thing that Dean the Stingray on Jose's channel said the other day. He said, Flurfers, they just have no imagination. They just can't think creatively about these things, which translates to mean we can't create up a bullshit just so story like they can.
Yeah, those flat earthers, they struggle to work at the not really is level with imagination and mathematics. Why can't they work at the abstract level like we do? That's because we like to work in the physical and natural world at the really is level with things actually occurring, not using our imagination to see gas go down, go boom boom like bouncy balls.
Well, I'll take Arwen on our side. He could out-imagine them all.
Yep.
No, Arwen understands what is and isn't at the really is and really isn't level. Arwen is definitely not like some fanciful clown like Thunderfoot. Far from it. He knows, he disclaims it openly when he's saying this is just pie in the sky. That's kind of demeaning my idea of what might be.
Right.
That's definitely what I hear when I hear some of these guys arguing.
Yeah, there's got to be some
and
meme.
Just for the record, that's not Bonanza.
There's got to be some meme makers out there that can memify gas bouncy balls and Thunderfoot juggling them.
Oh, I just thought of something, guys. You got to have an imagination to do thought experiments. Come on, you got to have it.
Yeah, and you've got to have reality to do actual science.
Touche, pussycat.
Shout out to Tom and Jerry.
So, Anthony, how's the list of PhDs coming along? Purcell? Is Musa a PhD?
Which list are you talking about? The list of PhD wannabes that claim to be PhDs but might not be, but pretend that they're PhDs? Or do you mean the PhDs that can demonstrate gas or gravity or any of the claims of the heliocentric model? Which list are you referring to?
The list of PhDs that have had their ass handed to them, and the only reason they're in the debate is because they've recognised that they're utilising pseudoscience and calling it science, which gives them quite a degree of power that they might lose, given that we expose pseudoscientists. That list.
Yeah, there's a few. I think there's that Anthony Purcell guy from Australia. He's a seismologist, I think, or he gives himself a proper sounding name, but basically he's a data analyst. He thinks he's doing science, but when challenged, he can't demonstrate the manipulation of the presumed cause of any effects that he's measuring with his gravimeter. And he demands that he's doing science, but when challenged, he lost his marbles with Spurs. PhD, I think Professor Phil Bell professes to have a PhD. I might not be 100% on that, but I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he's working in hydrology, and he was on a panel full of people who were mocking us because we said water vapour was gas. And they were all saying, the flat earthers say water vapour's gas. And Professor, just Phil, let's be realistic, Phil Bell said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, while the panel were mocking us for saying water vapour's gas. This is a guy who works in hydrology. So he thinks it's amusing to declare water vapour as gas. This is the kind of retarded PhDs we're talking about that we're detailing on this list. Andrew Thomas Young.
It's kind of amusing, isn't it? So
what was he saying it was if it isn't a gas?
I don't know. For me to divine the stupidity levels of the ballers we deal with, it would be absurd, Anthony. I don't divine people's thoughts. They do that to us with their crystal balls. Hey, QE.
I got it. I know what they meant. They meant bouncy balls.
It's the Thunderfoot Clown Show.
Moderator. Oh, sorry, wrong room.
Oh man, that was fun last night, John, bro.
John, do you know what they were saying, John? If it weren't a gas, what was it?
I don't know.
Gaseous.
Oh yeah, that's right. Gaseous.
No, that's not even a joke. That's what they said.
Yeah, I'm asking.
No.
it was gaseous water, right?
It's not gas.
Hawkins said it was gaseous.
Not gas, it's gaseous.
Gas.
Not gas, but gaseous.
So
it's not gas.
Liquidious is that a new state as well? And solidious.
Nathan, I got a picture for you for your
It's,
song.
it's Solidius helium. Dun, 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 dun.
Solidius and Liquidius. It sounds like characters in the next movie, doesn't it?
Anthony.
Solidius and Liquidius.
I could kiss you. Just use your imagination. It's Solidius helium.
I mean, if something is in a gaseous state, wouldn't that make it a gas?
Yeah, water vapor's gas. Yeah, they're just clowns. And the reason they're having to defy water vapor being gas is because it falls in line with the second law of thermodynamics and debunks their assertion that the sky is a vacuum. So they end up, as I keep describing, going nuts. Now, I'm not saying these people actually are stupid. They just demonstrate themselves to be stupid in these instances because they're being taken over by globe zealotry. And when you're under the influence of globe zealotry, you will declare that water vapor is not gas, or that gas is actually a solid bouncy ball. You'll do stupid things because that's what zealotry does to you, especially if you're unaware that you're a religious zealot and you just think you're right anyway. Boom, boom.
Nathan, and then a water physicist says that that's the dumbest thing he's ever heard.
We just covered
John,
that.
Here's one for you. It's
we just covered that.
Me, but it's from Evergone in chat. He says the container, as used by Blue Marble Science, that's the pipe that goes up his side of his house. If you're not sure, he says that container, as used by Blue Marble Science, wasn't a closed container as required by the second law of thermodynamics.
Sorry, hold on. Stop. Hello. Sorry. Our question is, can you have gas pressure without a container? And he's saying, the container, that's the end of your argument.
Yeah. The
it a closed container?
Sorry, we're asking for it without, let's just say that again, without, maybe in a different pitch, without a container. And his argument and rebuttal is, the container that's being used is blah, blah, blah. All I just hear is squealing. The container? No, we're asking for it without that.
Yeah, without any sort of container. Not one type, but the other's okay. No.
I just see if I can. Container. Let's just think of a.
Get to the container! Get to the container!
Get to the container!
Excuse me. My hand is up. I need to ask the clarifying question. Can a container have one side?
Or like a marble?
Can a container have one side?
Like a marble?
Yeah, it's like a marble.
I suppose a sealed container can have one side.
No. You mean on the outside of the marble, though, presumably, Paul? I've got to round out quick. Get to the point quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the marble only has one side that the gas can be contained with, and it's on the outside of the marble, not on the inside of the marble.
Well, see, Paul, that is a surface that gas molecules can bounce off. And that would give you a small amount of pressure as and when they do. But the problem is in the vacuum of space that's infinitely huge in volume, the molecules will be so sparsely set out you might get one molecule every 100 years or so. It's not going to give you a lot of pressure, is it?
Right. The gas will expand to fill whatever volume is available for it to fill, as per the second law of thermodynamics, also known as entropy. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. And a massive thank you to all of you for joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, smashing the super chat, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a day! What a lovely day!
couple of quick shout-outs. So shout out to High Score Boy for joining as a hyena.
Planes
And also shout out to Cleary, who smashed the super chat just after the show finished. So the sun's gravity holds the solar system together. What's gravity? Anyway, thank you for the super chats, Cleary, and thank you for joining High Score Boy.
Well, I still want it done. Nathan, please go to Master B, look at the picture, and do your dun 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 song, please.
With the monkey.
Yeah, do it. I want to see it.
It needs gas bouncy balls. This is no good.
He means display the picture so that you can do it.
I told you, 10th man.
What do you want at a moment's notice?
Yeah, you've got to. If you're going to do that sort of thing, you've got to have a skill in meme making.
It's just off the cuff here. I got the Space Monkey as chocolate set.
Not bad. Not bad.
Maybe you could get your wife to make it.
The whole time you were making
Wow.
those tunes, I kept thinking of this image because as a kid I grew up watching these guys on TV.
I've put it out there, Arwen. Thank you, 10th man. It's out there now. Hey, Brian, by the way.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, everybody.
And we've got Requiem. Is it Requiem? Hello as well. Don't know who that is. It is. Anyway.
I think was that Travis?
Travis? Might be.
Requiem? Of something?
We can't hear you, whoever you are. Maybe it's Bev or someone. Who knows? We'll find out when they fix their mic. Yeah, like I said, Darwin, I was just going to say, I've put it out there. The amount of memes I get sent is unreal. So somebody will make me a meme.
Right. I was actually addressing 10th man. So.
I see.
Regardless, don't knock my cooking channel, Arwen.
I said maybe he could have his wife make it for him.
Hold on, Arwen. You can't just do that. Shout out your channel properly, 10th man.
Oh, I wasn't trying to, but yes, 10th man dishes. It's a YouTube channel.
Is it really?
Yeah.
10th man dishes.
See?
Oh,
got
check out to that.
Got a new subscriber already, you see? Excellent. Worth shouting out.
Yeah, he really knows how to film a good meal.
But I don't cook it, right, Arwen?
No proof of it.
I just have a request, 10th man. Whenever you cook with that large pan that you just bought, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you cook with that, I want you to go, oh, waka, waka, waka.
Send me a soundbite. I'll put it on.
If everyone can clear the air, just do it now. Well, thanks for that, Travis. I can clip that out and give it to 10th man.
I didn't understand what that meant. What did you want? I was like,
you could DM me. You could do a direct message or a private message with waka waka waka, and I'll put it on. That's what.
Okay, yeah, but when Nathan said that, I was thinking, what is he talking? I was just my brain slowed down.
He was waiting for you to do it.
To do it again.
We're dragging this out.
Travis,
We're losing the audience. They're all unsubscribing. Stop! This is just
moderator.
God. Anyway, thank you for the plug. 10th man dishes. Subscribe today.
Yeah, that fact the flat Earth thing's interesting. They all had an argument over about how flat glass making was. And Spurs had up his sleeve this little secret video that said something like, it's absolutely flat. Now, when it says absolutely flat, it doesn't say it's following the curve of the Earth. It's got a curve in it. It says absolutely flat. So when you've got an absolute value, that's stronger than just normal. And it seems that Fight the Flat Earth he's not faked it because he wants to argue that it's following the curvature of the Earth, even though that is what he did. It seems he's faked it to get out of paying the thing because he did actually have a citation that was challenged to present. He had the citation. So the issue is not about whether or not it is following a curve or not. He's done the bet that was challenged, which was present a citation that says absolutely flat. And he did that. So really, Don't know, 500 quid to a charity of Spurs' choice, it seems.
Oh, God, I hate it. I hate it.
So,
hold on. I've got to. Hold on, 10th. Hold on. 10th. Anthony, make your conclusion that the liquid, in this example, liquid tin, is flat. That liquids do not conform to a sphere. Earth is obviously and observably flat, demonstrably no curve. Not, he owes him 500 quid. It makes me cringe.
Yeah, it's not really about the money. It's more about he did do the citation request that was expected of him. He did it. So it's like, well it's absolutely flat.
Isn't it also about that, like, how can he ever use how can he ever use a video for any type of citation or evidence for anything? Because what he's saying is because in the video that Spurs provided, the guy just happened to say it's absolutely flat. And what he does with it is just takes that and dubs over with his voice saying, well, it matches the curve of the Earth. And therefore, you could just throw anything out because anybody could say anything. And then you could just dub anything over anything. So how could he ever prove anything?
Can't. He can't, Chocolate. Zealotry. It won't matter how good your argument is. We should have ended the argument when we pointed out they assumed R. That should have been the end. But we've had to go into debunking it from within the fallacy. That's absurd in any other argument. But in this argument, the zealotry is so deep that even if you demonstrably show that something is unequivocally true and used as a practical way of producing something as a result of that demonstrable flatness, they will literally overdub their own voices on top of it. It's zealotry. It's so strong.
Yeah. Yeah, and I spoke to Fight the Flat Earth and I asked him, like, why did you do that? And he says that it was just to demonstrate that if Spurs accepts the word of some bloke, then if he then says the same words, the opposite, but the same, then he has to accept his words. And I was like, it seems like you're doing it just to get out of, like...
It's not words. It's a description of a practical example. There's a practical example of something being produced, sold, manufactured, and they pride themselves on it being perfectly flat, and the way it's perfectly flat is because it's floated on liquid that's perfectly flat. So it's not just words. It's not just some dude saying, oh, by the way, my pane of glass in my window, they make that by floating it on lead. And yeah, that's why it's perfectly flat. And you could go, you've just made that up. No, it's true. I'm sure I read it somewhere. No, this is a manufacturer saying, here's our process. It's not just words.
Yeah. And it's in the context of
my entire next paycheck that if the guy in the video originally said that whatever matches the curve of the Earth, that would have been okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wouldn't, because then he'd be making bloody lenses.
Well, that's the next thing, isn't it? These panes are the ones that they use on, tall skyscrapers that are glass fronted, and the panes of glass are humongous, right? Like bulletproof things, they're massive.
I come from New York. I know tall skyscrapers. Yep.
Yeah. So they're massive panes, right? They get cranes to lift them into place. They're that big and heavy, right? So basically, if they didn't make them flat, they're not going to fit because they're going to be too long, because the curvature of the Earth is longer than the straight line from point A to point B. They would be too long. They wouldn't fit in the tight, because glasses, you've got to be tight fit with them, right? So they've got to be dead precise with them. They can't have a curve. They've got to be flat, because if they're not, that means you got to measure from point A to point B in the window that you're going to fit the glass to, and then bend it for the curvature of the Earth, because that's the process that they're going to use. It's utter nonsense, but that's it. It's just reduced to absurdism.
Not only reduced to absurdity, there's further steps in zealotry that they can take, as much as I'm being exasperated and making out like, wow, it's the end of the world, the zealotry so strong. No, the next step is to get in touch with the manufacturer and say, did you realise that while you're stating it's completely flat, actually it's following the curve of the Earth? You need to adjust your rhetoric in line with fundamentalist globe zealotry. That's the next step.
Well, that's what Craig's done. To get
no way! You're joking!
And
You're joking.
He's bullied them. Yeah, he's bullied them into basically. Apparently, he's claiming that. I'll read it. I'll read what he said. Now, I don't believe this is true, but this is what he's claiming at the minute, and Spurs is going to chase it down. But his argument, when I asked him why did you do it, his message back to me says, he says, I can't find it off the top. I did have it. He says, I've already been in touch with them, and they've confirmed that the curvature of the Earth on the length of glass that they make would be, I think he said 1.6 millimeters or something like that, or 11 millimeters or something.
What the hell?
So that changes the length of the glass.
Tell me you're kidding.
No, that's what
called it. Sorry, I
rat.
did not. I just want to clarify for the audience. I did not know that was the case, but I called it.
Wow. So they had to contact the guy who, as a profession, uses this stuff and tell him. I'm good.
Your flat glass isn't really flat. It can't be. Earth's curved. Do you understand? No, I manufacture it. It's flat. No, it would be X, Y, and Z based on my fundamentalist religious presupposition. Why aren't you listening to me? Oh, by the way, I've got a degree.
Told them I took physics, and you.
I was just about to say I've got a degree.
Wow.
Nathan, I posted a photograph in Master B, the one that Fight the Flat Earth tried to debunk me with, his supposed level camera. I posted it in there a few minutes ago if you want to.
Okay, I've got it up on screen. Oh, it's actually a different monkey. Dun 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 dun. Thunderfoot.
That was
Okay, it's in Master B. You say I can't see it. Oh yes, I've got it already. Yes, I've got it on screen. So this is what flashed up for a second or two, right?
Yeah, that's what he flashed up for a second or two, and I didn't spot it because I was in the middle of the debate, and Jose was asking me something. But Spot On, who's on Discord, he spotted it.
So what's the issue? Talk us. I already know, but just talk me through it like I haven't got a clue what you're on about, what this proves, what it means.
Yeah, Fight the Flat Earth was trying to disprove a perspective thing that I was showing to do originally with Jesse Kozlowski observing something lower than his camera height is the same as his camera height from across a lake. Fight the Flat Earth was trying to disprove that I was showing this was perspective. And part of the way to disprove it on Jose's show is he flashed up this image of his supposed level camera to do with his supposed demonstration of disproval. So he claimed his camera was level on Jose's show with hundreds of people watching and listening. And this was what he showed for 2 seconds.
You said he was trying to disprove perspective?
Yeah, I have a thing where I show that it's to do with I'm feeding back there from someone. I have a thing where I show. I think I've shown a bit of it on the show here, but I have a much better version of it now done. Where I show that it's due to a parallel. It's not about what's happening is people are taking their cameras and they're leveling. Someone keeps feeding back there. Keeps feeding back.
Sorry, that was me.
Yeah. People are taking their cameras and they're trying to level their cameras, but the surface they're using, it might be on a decline or an incline away from the camera. So what's happening is they're trying to disprove what I show, which is as something moves away, it appears because the field of view gets bigger, it appears to become smaller in the distance, just angular size change. So it appears that your center lens is looking over it or is higher than it, but it's actually not. It just appears that way. And they're trying to disprove it by taking a camera and a crosshairs and leveling it with a clinometer or whatever they use, some kind of a crosshairs, and then using a surface that may or may not be level. Most of the time there's always a decline or an incline away from the camera lens. So what's happening is that as they move the pieces away, instead of the pieces appearing to get smaller, they appear to get smaller, yet they go up above the crosshairs. And the reason that's happening is because on most of the videos, not all of them, most of the videos is because what's happening is they're using a surface that's on an incline away from the camera. So the piece is getting smaller due to angular size change, but it's actually rising in elevation because it's going slightly up the way. But because their camera lens, center lens is leveled, it's not making a parallel with the surface. So I show using a plumb bob function on an app I got, that because plumb bob would just show a direct straight line, as opposed to looking for a level, it just shows a direct straight line. That's what it does. And I use a plumb bob function and a laser with my latest video on it, and a marked piece of cardboard to show 3 independent proofs happening at one time, to show that when something moves away, it appears to drop. Even the laser is appearing to drop. And a laser is a tool, a measuring tool I have that has a laser on it with a totally flat side for when you put it down onto something, the laser shows a direct straight line from that point. I show 3 different things happening at one time to show that due to angular size change and distance, when there is a parallel, because that's what Jesse Kozlowski had. He had a lake and he assumed it to be totally flat.
Yeah, this is bullshit. Right? But we all know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, we literally have to go through this nonsense with them just to prove something as small as that. It is. I agree. It's bullshit. Like, we shouldn't have to do this, but you know.
Yeah, they're like children. They're sewer rats, is what they are. That friggin' the fat girth. He'll just say shit like QE said this. I never said that. He just makes shit up. I'll tell you what, we better never meet, son. Tell you that, son, right now. Fucking weasel, lion, sewer rat weasels.
Scam artist.
Yep. Frauds. No, numpty frauds, too. You're fucking numpties. Mr. Angular velocity is speed. And clown. What physics course did you take? Mail order from Tuco Community College in Tobago? Idiot. Moderator.
Wrong show, folks.
See, I've asked him to prove that because he used it against Spurs to debunk Spurs because he learned it from that Tony, what's his name? Tony Purcell. Tony Purcell criticised Spurs by saying, you don't have a PhD or a degree. No one in science cares what you think, Spurs. Oh, so then Fight the Flat Earth then tried to use that. Now, the trouble is, if you have a degree or a PhD, right, most people don't actually proclaim it. It's not something that you really shout out from the rooftops. You mention it if needed to and if cornered, but you don't shout because you don't appeal to academia, right? You do it just to get a job, but you don't appeal to academia in debate ever.
Right.
But he has done.
Right. You know who else has done that?
Appealing.
Hold on, chocolate. Hold on.
Sorry.
You know who else has done that? Thunderfoot. So I kept getting spammed links by Thunderfoot fans of this dude called Venom Fang X. So you click on them, and the next thing you know, you're getting suggested them in your videos. And I happened to stumble across one that I was like, I actually watched that one because it broke down the story in about 3 parts. And I'm like, great, it'd be useful to know what the actual score was. But that's exactly what Thunderfoot did about 10 years ago with a creationist. So this dude starts emulating Kent Hovind and nicking all his arguments, basically. He ends up debating with Thunderfoot, and Thunderfoot's assertion is basically exactly the same. I've got a degree. Unless you've gone through peer review, you don't have an opinion in science. That was pretty much his words. I mean, I'm not verbatim, but that's pretty much what he said. And you're like, oh, I so picked the right guy, did I not?
He's gone through peer review. What the fuck does that mean?
Oh, it means that when he says something, what he says goes.
How do you go through peer review? Like your body went through peer review? You friggin' bozo. I bet he doesn't even know what peer review is.
That's my bitch.
To me, I just see it as a distraction from actually having somebody listen to the actual argument being presented and rebutting that argument. It's just, I have this accreditation, therefore, and you're not telling that to the person that you're debating, because the person you're debating usually wouldn't care. What you're doing is you're shouting that out to the audience, so that the audience, the people who aren't smart enough to understand what's going on, they just hear, oh, this one guy has accreditation, but the other guy doesn't. So that I'm going to listen to the guy that has the credit, that has the letters after his name, because he has made his case that he has letters after his name. Therefore, science, therefore, we live on a globe.
Ooh, I like that party.
That's
my kind of party.
Yeah, exactly.
And Spurs does too, doesn't he, QE? Have you noticed how Spurs has been doing that?
Say that again.
Spurs. So the guy, Purcell, you don't have a degree. I'm an influencer. I've got all the credits to my name. You don't have an opinion here. And Spurs was like, So what was the cause?
Yeah. But exactly. I'm but a student just asking you questions. Please tell me. I want to learn.
He did that. I think he did that in lieu of addressing the point, in the sense that an ad hominem is like an insult in lieu of the addressing the point. Whereas because he couldn't address the point, he literally swerved it by saying, well, you don't have a degree, no one really cares what you think. That was because he couldn't answer the question, and rather than say I don't know or I can't answer the question, he took that as his get out, attack Spurs instead.
Yeah, at the man. Go on.
What's the cause?
He buried it, and then sent the students out to go and unbury it.
And then he said that the location of where you bury the masses caused the effect that we see in nature. No.
No.
A geo. Wait a second. He's a geophysicist, and he says you don't need experiment in science. I loved it. Loving that. You friggin' pretender clown bozo, you Purcell.
So what's the list? We've got Purcell. Is Danny Faulkner a PhD?
Yeah.
Yep.
We've got Purcell, Danny Faulkner. Moosa's not a PhD, is he?
Who? Moosa is a PhD, yeah.
Oh, Moosa's on the list. Because I listed him, and I thought afterwards, is he actually a PhD? Okay.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
So is Thunderfoot. Thunderfoot's a PhD. Who else we got?
PhD in what?
Physics.
Really? What? And he doesn't understand this?
Well, that's... I didn't research this. Somebody sent it me on a comment. I should keep my mouth shut, really. I haven't double-checked that.
He doesn't have no PhD.
Maybe you guys should
if he's got a PhD in physics, I'm Mahatma Gandhi.
According to what I was sent as a comment, don't rely on it, but it said PhD from Birmingham. That's what it said. According to Wiki. You can just look him up. His name, according to the quote, Mason is his name. So Mason Thunderfoot. Sounds like a crazy name, but maybe his name's Thunderfoot.
I'm sorry. Is that your bitch?
That's my bitch, yeah.
All right, I'll leave him alone.
Fair enough.
We got.
Is someone photocopying?
Sorry, it's me. I'm rerouting a wire.
Making copies.
It's always your mic, man. Where is? I'll put that. If there's an echo, it's Tony's mic. If there's background noise, it's Tony's mic. You got the best equipment of all of us. What the hell? What's going on?
That's not wrong. You're not right. You're not wrong, QE. He's got the best equipment of all of us. Yes, his gain's always way too high. He's always got his mic line open. He's often got feedback. I was kissing your ass the other day, Sleepy Mario, on the last show, and talking about how you basically wanted to up everybody's game that was doing flat Earth videos.
Yeah. What was the topic? What was the conversation?
Well, the conversation was just that you're out there, upping people's game, getting their equipment sorted, and I was praising you, saying you often do it at a detriment to your own back pocket and various other different things.
Well,
just praising you.
Started that conversation was somebody, I forget who, maybe Rebel, somebody coming in talking about your debate with the Purcell and how he was treating you, and how you're usually just yourself, which is a pretty nice guy. And he was attacking you, and it's just a bad look for the guy to attack Spurs and you, who are two of the nicest guys in this debate, to be honest.
Did you hear Tony lose it?
No, I did. I didn't actually listen to it. I'm a bad friend.
Yeah, he lost it in the end, man. I was rolling.
Did he?
Yeah,
he lost it. Yeah. He rage quit.
No, not him. You lost it on him. You're shut the fuck up.
He kept monologuing and speaking over me, and I asked him twice earlier. I said, let's turn the volume down and let's turn the tone down and let's have a conversation like adults, because we are adults here, right? And he agreed to that, and then the volume started getting higher again. So I said it again, somewhat similar. I said, "Come on, let's wind it back down." And then he went on a massive monologue after interrupting me, right? And at the end of the monologue, he made about 4 or 5 points, and I was like, "Fuck, where do I start with this now?" And I said, "Listen," I said, "I'm going to make 2 points now, and you will listen to me. You can speak at the end." And he left before I made my first point because he took offense to me saying to him, "You will listen."
Yeah. But he interrupted you the whole time with nonsensical gibberish. You freaking bozo, you'd fail 5th grade general science. Purcell. I'm going to drag you around by your short hairs, you little clown.
That's just a bitch move.
What the point to take from Purcell is, if you compare his demeanor with George Moose's, right? Even though Fight the Flat Earth still thinks that George Moose was agreeing with him, even though he wasn't, he was being polite and disagreeing with him. George Moose was extremely polite and professional, whereas Tony Purcell was extremely impolite and unprofessional, yet they're both supposed to hold a PhD. It's embarrassing. That's not the way that PhDs should be behaving. Like Spurs said, he's the teacher, we're the students. You don't lose your shit with students. You just go, let's talk properly.
He was basically the video version of how that lady, and I keep forgetting her name, the one that was interviewed, the exoplanet astrophysicist that got interviewed by Wakey Wakey. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't on video with her reaction, but it might as well have been the same reaction.
Go get that bozo. Bring him on the show or take him to the arena. Moderator.
Yeah. He doesn't want to speak to me at the minute, but I said to him before we had the conversation, I said, "Listen," I said, "you're obviously green in the topic. Go and have a conversation or two with a few more people. Learn how to disagree properly, and then we'll talk, because I don't want to fall out with you by disagreeing with you and it going silly." And he's like, no.
Stay out of this topic, man, because it's not going to get any better for him. You and all your PhD friends.
Fight the Flat Earth made a big mistake bringing him into it, because, it sounds good that he's managed to get a PhD into it. That's okay, but he's engaging, isn't he? So now he's engaging. He's going to get called. He's going to get cornered. He's going to get slaughtered, and he's going to have to retreat back to never to be seen again. That's what's going to happen.
Yep. That's exactly what's going to happen.
It's funny how these guys...
He's not going to. He already has.
They have to go contact the people, right? So he's got to contact this PhD. Because of you and Quantum Eraser using George Moose's citations, they had to go get Mooser. Now we got all that on video, right?
Love it.
Andrew Thomas Young.
Love it.
Rumpus had to go contact him.
Yeah.
What? Like, why? Why, guys?
No, that's what we want. No, let him do it.
Yeah, I know, but like, why? if you had this all sewn up, you wouldn't have to contact anybody. So that just shows your hand, guys. It's unfortunate. So keep getting them. Keep bringing them.
Yeah, bring them out here. We'll whip them around by their short hairs right in front of everyone.
This is you're doing QE, so it's probably 2 years ago now, but you overtly stated it. Yeah, we want the PhDs. Step forward.
Yeah.
Represent.
Hey, QE, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. In Master B, I found Tuco Tuco in Tobago, and you can get a degree in Calypso and cooking.
Calypso and Tuco Tuco.
I'm serious. They give a degree in Calypso and cooking.
Are they also specialise in gas bouncy ball juggling? Isn't that the thing?
You're on him, boy. What a bozo.
Poor Tenderfoot.
It's a great clown name, though. Thunderfoot is a really great clown name.
It is.
What's wrong with Tenderfoot?
Because I think Thunderfoot's better.
Tenderfoot is good.
Thunderfoot the clown. Tenderfoot's good too, but, and here comes Thunderfoot.
It's a big floppy.
Hey, you guys heard the newest phenomena?
No.
Yeah, it's Thunderdome in the arena over at 24/7. It was a rockin' last night, man. Had an all-star cast. It was Wits It, Gets It, Nathan Thompson, Chocolate, Indio, AI Overlord. I was in there. It went friggin' off the rails, man.
Cool. Very cool.
I fell asleep. Got a concession from Zanuck that he cannot manipulate time, so that was good.
Zanuck, what a knucklehead. Hey, Negator! Negator came in there.
Oh, wow. And diverted and dodged and weaved every time he was asked for measurable curvature.
I remember
Times
Negator.
guy, he came in, but he wouldn't come in unless I left. They won't come over if I'm there.
I remember Negator X. He
Was
used to
it
be relevant
recorded?
about 3 years ago.
Yeah, he used to be. He's got nothing.
That's what you
now.
got to say to Neg. Just say to Neg he used to be relevant because he fucking hates it.
Jose retard came in and got slapped around.
Oh my God! Jose came in with it. Asked him what is the opposite of synthetic, and he says supernatural. And then tries to say later on that something synthetic doesn't exist.
It went bad, dude. It was rocking, man.
Was it recorded?
Yeah, it was recorded. I think.
Yeah,
so.
I've gone out on 24/7 YouTube channel, right?
Not 24/7 YouTube and they got 24/7 Discord. It's called The Arena. And it's not like no holds barred, but you can go 1v1. Everyone everyone goes on mute and only those two people talk. It's like two men enter, one man leave. It's badass, man.
They should change it to Quantum Erasers Arena.
I can see Quantum. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
I got kicked 3 times, man.
I heard.
Hey,
I heard you got kicked from your own side.
Yeah. Because somebody was mischaracterizing my argument. I'm there. Wait a second. I heard this voice in the background. He's mischaracterizing. I'm there. Moderator. He goes, I am the moderator. I said, shut the fuck up.
Need you a proper plug for the channels again, please.
Go ahead, Chocolate.
The one channel is called the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord 2.0, and the arena is usually live streamed from a channel by the name of Miggy. Shout out to Miggy, who's one of the moderators over there. And the live stream can be found on his channel. That's spelled Miggy, Miggy. So yeah.
You come there, you better come.
You better have some cowbell, because this isn't. You can't come in there with where's the edge or ice wall and stuff. These are advanced arguments for the big boys.
Okay, just because I've got a bit of
forethought. I can hang with the big boys.
A bit of forethought. You will presumably have a live show today. That's Tuesday, correct, Quantum Eraser?
That's correct.
This goes out broadcast on Tuesday, this after show. So do you want to plug your show? It's just gone out.
Yeah.
It's just, bear in mind, this goes out after, so it's just gone out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so today, that's so weird, is time is an independent variable from the friggin' clown show Sewer Rats. So we're going to go over time as an independent variable. This is a belly laugher, folks. It'll be 1 p.m. U.S. Central, 7 p.m. UK, and that will be 7 July. Be here, be sphere.
It's already happened, so yeah, but that's on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. So be here or be sphere. Time is an independent variable. It's just been broadcast maybe a couple of hours ago now on Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to both Nathan Oakley 1980 and Nathan Oakley premiering stream audiences for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a day! What a lovely day!